Hello, I'm Tom Sinclair. This is Streaming Idiots. How do you know? Well, because it says Streaming Idiots right down there below my name. That's how I know who I am. No, I'm sorry. Really I kind of juiced today because it's going to be a really fun show. A lot of cool stuff going on in the world of live streaming. Just a lot of stuff going on. vMix has come out with a new beta, vMix 18, which came out right before the show last week. And I said, yes, let's go. Let's install it. And then it crashed. And then they put out an update, but it was too late. I was back to 17 for last week's show. So we are actually doing this week's show with the beta version. And we're doing it on two PCs. You can see the laptop over here over my right shoulder. Thank you, Russell. Russell's telling me I'm 6 minutes late starting the show. So if you're watching live, you know it. If you're watching on YouTube after the fact, I'm right on time. Okay, so vMix version 18, that's come out. We're actually going to talk with Martin Sinclair about that in just a few minutes. We want to welcome a new show. I think we talked about it a little bit before, and we'll bring them in on that. And but before we go, I want to start out the show and thank. I want to thank some folks from YouTube because this show is broadcast live on YouTube. The live show is archived with the pre-show and the post-show, and then we also upload just the show as a second video later. The show upload is 1080p. What you're watching us now live is 720p. And then, of course, the archived version is just 720p. So if you want to see me in 1080, go ahead and go for that. But I do want to thank these are our subscribers since last week: Captain John C.A., Samuel, Andre, Drew, Fernando, Media Show Brazil, Brett, Madman Media. Are We Live? I love that as a name for your YouTube show. Farley, the Golden Red Pilot, Kun Lee, I hope I pronounced that correctly, O'Neill, MRV Media, Junior, Video Creole, and Jeremy. So thank you guys for subscribing. I think we are like maybe 5 people away from hitting 2,500 on our subscription, our Eastern Shore Broadcasting YouTube page. So if you haven't subscribed, you can pop us over the top to 2,500. Also, while you're thinking about it, you might subscribe to the vMix YouTube page. They are just a fraction away from 5,000 subscribers, so you could help them out there too. The nice thing about subscribing is, number one, you'll get a notice when we've uploaded a new video. Heck, you may even get a notice when we're live. I'm not sure. I'd love to find that. If somebody in the chat room knows, they can help me out. Welcome to the Knoxville Church of God. Just tuned in here. I'm just trying to capture all these thoughts and put them into another place. Oh, I know too. If you are in the streaming business, and I say we, I'll tell you about who we is in just a second. We are putting together what would you call it? A list, a group, a resource where people that are looking for people to do streaming for them can go and say, okay, here's somebody in Plano, Texas, which is close enough to where we are that we can have somebody come in. Here's somebody that's in New York. This is somebody I can use. So we like to get all of you that are doing live streaming, doesn't matter what part of the world you're in, and kind of get you in with us in a database. That's what we'll call it, a database. And Dave and I have been working on this for a little while. He's put up a kind of a test website. And, Dave, I didn't think to bring that with me, but if you want to post it in chat, I'll mention it over the air so folks that are watching on YouTube, and I'll put it in the show notes too. The idea is that people out there that are interested in live streaming but don't know how to do it or don't want to know how to do it but want it done for them can know who to go to. And so, I'm sure there are probably other lists out here, so we're going to start our own, and it'll be some sort of professional live streamers or something like that. We'll probably go with a more serious name than a less serious name, just because. vMix 18, well, I don't really know whether this is vMix 18 or vMix 17, but it must be vMix 17. It must be in vMix 17. Anyway, the guys at vMix have just threw out a tutorial this past week about how that vMix will now stream to Periscope and Twitter. Oh, you didn't know Periscope and Twitter were now doing, well, you knew Periscope was doing live video, and you knew Twitter was because they did the NFL football games. But now using vMix, you can stream to both of those. And let me bring the vMix guys in for this. And basically all I've done is I went out to YouTube, got the URL for the YouTube video on this, and I put it into my web browser function in vMix, which allows me to control YouTube, but within vMix. It's really, really cool. So I'm going to bring that in right now, and you're going to see the play button in the bottom left-hand corner, and I'm just going to hit play, and away they go.
Hi everyone. Today in this video we're going to look at how you can stream to Periscope and Twitter using Periscope Producer. Periscope Producer allows you to stream using your own encoder instead of using just your phone app. This means that you're able to create professional productions and then send them out directly to Periscope and Twitter, and it also gives you the ability to use Periscope as another delivery option for your stream. For instance, you could stream to a CDN, YouTube, and now Periscope at the same time. At the moment, you'll need approval from Periscope to use Periscope Producer. There's a link in the description on how to sign up. This might change in the future, we're not quite sure. Sometimes with these things you need approval to begin with, and then they open up for everyone later. When going through the sign up process, please remember to include vMix as your encoder. Now once you've been approved, you'll be able to go to your Periscope settings and select Advanced Sources. Currently this feature is only available on iPhone and iPad, but I think they're working on the Android app at the moment. By the time you're watching this, it may already be available. Now on your Advanced Sources screen, you'll see Source Connection Info. This will display a primary server and a stream name. You just need to copy down this information into your vMix production. The easiest way to do this is probably just to grab your phone or your tablet and then take that over to your vMix workstation and copy it in. Now once you have this information, head back to vMix and go to your streaming settings. Then go to Custom RTMP Server from the drop-down and enter the URL and the stream name into the fields. Once done, you'll just need to edit the quality settings to line up with the Periscope recommendations. Now when you received your email from Periscope, it will have a link in there telling you what you'll need to use to set up your stream. We've also included the link in the description. Basically the recommended settings are 960 by 540 at 800 kilobytes. So you can adjust this in your settings like I'm doing here. So I've already adjusted mine, so you can just change the settings to what it needs to be. Now by default, the rest of the information is correct. They said that you are able to stream in HD 1280 by 720 for static events and to monitor the stream. So it's up to you to maybe just try out different things when you're streaming. If you wanted to try boosting your video quality, you might want to try using the high profile from the drop-down menu here, and also make sure that you've got hardware encoding switched on the stream settings screen. So you just need to save and close those streaming settings and then go back to your production. So here's one I prepared earlier. So when you're ready to stream, just click the stream button to send the stream to Periscope. Now if you head back to Periscope, you'll be able to click on Preview Broadcast. Then if you're happy with the preview, give the stream a title and then start your broadcast to Periscope. When you finish your stream, make sure to close it down on Periscope and vMix. Now Periscope Producer is very new, so this information may change in the future. So they might have API access that allows direct integration to encoders, but we'll have to wait and see on that. So thanks for watching. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. Please keep in mind this is all a very new process, so if they have made changes that you notice, please let us know and we can adjust our video. Thanks.
audio. Thank you. Giles, you would think I would know better than this. This is the vMix Banana. Yes, you can get these on YouTube. He is very cool, and he is one of the symbols. I don't know why, but the guys at vMix says you got to have a banana, a vMix Banana. So go with the vMix Banana. So we'll put him back on the desktop. Back on the desktop. Oh, somebody said they wanted to see a picture of the desktop today. We do have a fish tank under the desktop, so it makes for some really interesting conversations over the telephone when a particularly large fish swims by, and you have to be careful where you put your toes. So we'll get back out of that. That was just for fun. Just for fun. We've got who we got warming up in the bullpen. Yeah. Some of the guys in the chat room got together and have started a show. Actually, several of you guys have started shows, and you're anyway. We'll get to that in just a second. I was going to give you the punchline, but I'll hold back on that. Giles and John, together with Merle and sometimes Martin, have put together a show called Step Back. It's Step Back in Time TV is the well. Let me just play it. What the heck? You know, we won't. I've just got this clip picked out from stepbackintime.tv. Let's go with it.
Say hello, Martin.
Hello. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah,
Sounds
I can
good.
hear. We can hear you. Right,
Hear me?
now then. Yeah.
Right.
Just stay there 2 seconds, because this is dun, dun, dun. It's the All Tom's Fault section. Well, it's All Tom's Fault section. That's what Martin is going to be here for today. Now, Martin, the best thing is, I think, if you explain where you are and what you're doing.
Right. I'm on the edge of a field, basically, in the boot of my car. So yes, I'm perched on the boot of my car, on the edge of a field in the UK, with a battery-powered light and a UPS, which is running a router on a 4G signal and an antenna, which has got me not too bad a signal today. And then I'm running two cameras. So I have an XF305, which is going into a Blackmagic, which is then going into Zoom. And I have another camera, XF205, which I'll just go to now. That's on night vision. And that's the view that I have if I look at my camera. So that's it's the moon, and you can just about see the trees in the distance. And yeah, I'm off the edge of a country lane. Let me put it back to me.
So
there we go.
You basically couldn't be any more off-grid, really, could you?
No, not at all. The camera that I just cut to now, I'll change that. I'll let you have a look at the setup that I have here at the moment. It's a bit higgledy-piggledy, but it's working today. So this was about having a go and testing it. And yes, this is all Tom's fault.
It's possibly quite important to mention here, actually, that you're not using vMix at your end. You're just using big cameras and Zoom, aren't you? Because your vMix laptop is in for repair at the moment. So this is...
It is, yes. I was hoping it would be back by now, but I have a laptop with vMix on, and then I also have the vMix Go box. So I was hoping to have the laptop back today so I could run all the cameras into the laptop on vMix and not have to use Zoom. But unfortunately, it's not ready.
So what you have done is to show that it is possible to cobble something together in an emergency, and this is why the lip sync isn't quite right. I think your audio is a bit ahead of your video by about half a second. It's not our viewers' eyes. If you were using vMix,
Yes.
that wouldn't be happening, but it's just the nature of the combination of things you're using.
Yes, I think so. I mean, this really is lashed together. It's stuck together with a Band-Aid, I think, really. But it just shows that you can look at ways to overcome problems, which is what this is about, isn't it? It's about everyone trying to learn how to do things, and in some respects how to use systems that aren't necessarily designed for what we want to do with them, and find quirky ways to use it.
In, say, a countrywide emergency, that could be very important.
Yes.
Yeah, you're using Zoom from another country. There's no reason you couldn't give everyone the information they needed, provided they had the power to get your broadcast. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's something a little bit different. Yeah. Hopefully with a vMix machine, this would be a lot smoother. But it's amazing what you can do with Zoom. And then I'm just using
So it's no longer one vMix, one awesome stream. It's one guy, one trunk, one stream.
one little remote control, which is on a switcher, which is 2 HDMI cameras linked in. And yeah, if it will switch to the other shot. So I'm kind of hands-free. I've got a Mac here, but I'm just using the little HDMI splitter box to change the signal. And yes, there is a little bit of a delay, but I think for a lashed together system, it just shows you what can be done.
And it's all Tom's fault.
It's definitely all Tom. He's a bad man. He got me into this, and now I'm doing crazy things like this, like sitting in the boot of my car, and yeah. So.
Okay, well, enough of that. As you can see, those guys are having way too much fun. Martin in that shot actually was out in the boonies, that we would call it here in the U.S., and had no electricity and no internet, and so it was basically a proof of concept that you could stream completely off the grid. And hats off to Martin for putting that together, and hats off to Giles for putting the whole show together, and of course Merlin and John to add some tree trimming. Now, I do have a question. Let's see if we've got it right here. Yeah, we've got it right here. Looking at this shot right here, does it look like Martin has got some sort of antlers? We'll just leave that thought in your mind right there. I just couldn't help it. Couldn't help it. What's coming down the pike? Golly gee. vMix 18 is in beta, should be released in final form in December is the thought. Martin Sinclair is, if he's not in the U.S. now, he's on his way to the U.S. He's heading out to the West Coast if you're out in California way, and can get to the Streaming Media Magazine, the West Coast conference that they put on I think it's called Streaming Media West. Martin will be there at that event. vMix was a finalist, in 3 different categories in the Streaming Media Magazine's Reader's Choice Awards, and so he's there in hopes that maybe they can pull down a Streaming Media trophy. But nevertheless, it was great to see him nominated in not 1, not 2, but 3 different categories, and that's pretty cool. Martin will be switching coasts and coming back over to the U.S., coming over to the East Coast of the U.S. the following week, the second week of November, to go to NAB New York. So if you're in the New York area and haven't decided to go to NAB, you might want to take a look at it and then look up the vMix booth and meet Martin. He's really, really a nice guy, and extremely talented, as you can tell. Dave has posted the the URL to our sort of test website for our professional association. He posted it in chat. I'm going to put it in the streaming in the notes on YouTube, in the show notes. So if you're interested in that, go ahead and contact me, Tom at Eastern Shore Broadcasting. Tom at EasternShoreBroadcasting.com. And we'll keep you in the loop with how that goes. At this point, there isn't a list per se. We've just dummied up some things, and we just wanted to kind of have an idea of how things might work. Frankly, what I'm hoping is that there can be somewhere between 4 and 6 or 8 of us that would sort of be a steering committee that would work together, kind of adding some form and some shape to this organization. We don't want to get it, too top heavy with a lot of stuff that has to be maintained, but rather something that's light and easy to work with, that people can join, with some amount of screening. I don't think that we're going to have a requirement that you have to be a vMix guy in order to do it. I think the idea is that you have to have been doing live streaming for a while, and be able to show off some work. So. We'll continue to kind of push this idea forward, and hopefully we get a good result with that. It was who was it? It was Richard Ignacio that he and I had. I won't say we had an argument. We had a disagreement over the importance of Facebook Live, and he sent me a note this week. He's the one that streams the jet ski races all over the U.S. and has done very, very well with it. And he is being interviewed for an article in Streaming Media Magazine by Jan Ozer. Jan is the streaming guru on the staff at Streaming Media Magazine. And Jan was interviewing Rich based on his phenomenal results, among other things, using Facebook Live as a CDN to get his stream out to the world. And at last count, he had something like 47 million views using Facebook Live. So hat tip to Rich. Rich, you were right. I was wrong. And actually, we're streaming today on Facebook Live and have gotten, somewhat of a result. The key, as Rich told me, the key to Facebook Live is you've got to have a Facebook community already. You're not just going to open up a Facebook page and stream to that page, which you can do through vMix. You can literally tell vMix to stream to a particular page or a particular group or an event. But if you don't already have a community there to stream to, you're not going to get that result. So let's say, for example, you are a pretty good sized church, and part of the offering that the church makes to the community is not just their website, but a Facebook page. And so you've got 600 or 700 folks that like your Facebook page. Well, there's a community that you can stream to. If you've got 10 people liking your page, it becomes a little bit more difficult. And if you've got 600,000 folks liking your page, well, then absolutely go for it. Facebook Live is going to be a good way to do it. That's sort of a preface to saying there's a new player in this kind of live streaming for free to the whole world setup. And so we've got YouTube Live, we've got Facebook Live, we've got Periscope, and now the parent company of Periscope, which is Twitter, is getting in on the game. And you can do all of those directly through vMix. Well, the new one that popped up on my radar this week is Instagram. And Instagram will allow you to do live streaming to your Instagram page, channel, pocket, whatever they call it on Instagram. I have an Instagram account, but I'm not really an Instagram fanboy. I'm a little old to be a fanboy for anything, but anyway. But one of the neat things that happened to me is there's one particular group that I follow on Instagram, and whenever they go live, my phone dings, just a little ding, to let me know that they're live. And I'm kind of interested in the content that they're producing. So when I hear a ding, I'm like one of Pavlov's dogs. I mean, I'm salivating. I'm going to my phone to say, hey, is this something I want to watch? I've got a few minutes. I can do it now. And so I'm going to watch it live, plus I have the ability to interact. And it's a little cumbersome on a phone, but I can still do it. And if the content is going to be worthwhile, I'm going to watch for a while. If not, maybe I'll kind of mentally bookmark it to go back later and do it. But keep in mind, we've got more arrows in our quiver in terms of the ability to stream, the ability to go where there is an audience. So with YouTube Live and Facebook Live and Twitter and Periscope and now Instagram, all of which are, can you say it, free? Yes, cheapskate free. Now, what if you want to control your own audience? Well, that's a different story, and we've talked about that some before in the past. That's why I was directing folks in the pre-show to easternshorebroadcasting.com. Did it again. There it is. Because that's where the chat room was. So if you want to, if you're watching us on YouTube or Facebook right now, you can come to easternshorebroadcasting.com and you can see the chat room, and because the guys are talking about in fact, they're not even talking about anything we're talking about here. I need to do away with this chat room. Not really. But the idea is that you can add that additional level of engagement in your broadcast so that people can feedback to you. For example, when my mic wasn't on just a minute ago, there were 12 people in there and all caps saying no audio. It was like, okay, one of you would have been enough. But the give and take between the host and the audience, but here's the beauty, and it's happening here with this, and I give you guys a big thumbs up, is the group that's here in the audience are beginning to become friends with each other. There's a community forming. And so when Giles wanted to start a show and involve some other people, he's in England, John's in Denmark, Merle's in the USA in Indiana, Martin is in somewhere else in the United Kingdom. They had an existing relationship, even though probably they'd never really met. And so they could meet online and they could, bring in all the resources that they could bring to bear. And so all of a sudden something spins off. And even though it becomes, even though these guys are going to be competition for me, I can see that already. It's like, oh, geez, I've created competition. Not really. It's more a collegial kind of thing. So if you're thinking about doing a broadcast, include a chat room because really good things happen on that. It may take a while for people to kind of get to know each other, and chat is kind of a little scary sometimes for some folks, but give it a thought. Give it a thought. Alan Budd is doing his church broadcast up at Good Shepherd Lutheran Church in Wisconsin Rapids, Wisconsin, and they have the Sunday service that is broadcast live. He's got a chat room, and when the time comes for the prayers of the people in the service, they are paying attention to the chat room to see who's got prayers. They're even taking it that much further, and in his particular tradition, they offer communion on a regular basis. So all the folks that are their parishioners but online actually can ask for and receive by mail a little communion kit so that when they do communion at the church, the folks at home can do the same thing. So there are lots of ways to engage your audience. It's going to be a little different depending on, kind of what your thing is, whether it's church or sports or politics or talk shows or whatever. But keep in mind how to involve your audience in that. And I commend you with the idea of using a chat. Now, and we're running out of time, I understand this, but let me try to squeeze this in. So we've talked about YouTube and Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and Periscope. And I think all of those have a chat of some kind. If you're gonna use any multiple of those, or heaven forbid, use all of them, how in the world are you going to be able to interact with your audience? Well, I think there's a solution out there. I haven't seen it yet, and so I'm going to look for it, but I encourage you to take a look if this is something that you're interested in too. Do you remember when we had Rudy Ellis from Switchboard Live on the show some months ago? Well, I saw something I think it was on LinkedIn from Rudy the other day, or maybe it was on Twitter, that said that they were dealing with that problem, and that, you remember, Switchboard Live is among other things, is a restreaming service. So they can take a single feed from you and they can stream it to your YouTube page, your Facebook page, your Instagram page, etc. Well, I don't think Instagram yet, but in fact, that was how I asked him. were you going to be able to combine all these together? And he said, yes. In fact, not only we have a way to be able to stream to all of them, but we have a way to be able to combine the chat so that as a broadcaster, you can look to one source to see the chat from multiple different locations. So there we go. And it looks like Giles is saying that in the chat right now. So keep an eye out for that. It's unfolding as we speak. I think it's like any other new technology. When something comes out, it spurs somebody else to think of a way to use it or a different way to combine other functions. And so it's an exciting time. It's an exciting time to be in that. What's coming up? Golly gee, what is coming up? I don't think anything's good coming up. I'm just teasing. Keep in mind or keep an eye out for vMix 18 coming out very soon, by the end of the year, possibly even sooner. If you have purchased a vMix license in the last 12 months, you can upgrade. Actually, you can get any upgrade you want for free. But also, if it's within the last 12 months, you get a free upgrade to vMix 18. A free upgrade to vMix 18. What if you're 1 day out? If you're 1 day out, well, you're going to have to write a check. But the check's only going to be for $60 to make the upgrade, and that'll give you free upgrades for another year. So I think that's really, it's the right thing to do. I used to represent a different software company that had a product that was a live streaming product, and I had a customer that was 1 day over that year, and it was going to be 50% of the cost of the software to upgrade, and that company would not grandfather them in by 1 day. It was like, I guess on one hand I understand it, but on the other hand, if you're talking hundreds and hundreds of dollars, and you're only 1 day between free and not free, you could give them a break. But that's a different story for a different day. Looks like Mike is saying that Streaming Media West starts next Tuesday with live seminars that are webcast from the event. So you can Google Streaming Media West and probably find your way to anything that's going on there. So there's probably going to be some great stuff there. And it looks like I've missed out on all sorts of super stuff in the chat room. So let's wrap this show up. Looks like Rich is here, so he's going to have to bring snacks to the post-show chat party. If you're watching us live, come on over to chat because it's a great time, and the guys are really, really fun to hang out with. And do we have any gals with us today? Generally, we have a couple of ladies, but I don't see them right off the top of my head. Anyway, it'll be a fun time, and you can do that live in just a few minutes. Rich says that he's bringing mixed nuts. Well, that ought to be pretty easy with this crowd. They were bringing for themselves, and I've got my lemonade, so we're good to go. So, on behalf of all of us here at Eastern Shore Broadcasting, that's me and Rooney, I want to thank you for tuning in. Subscribe to us on YouTube. I mean, heck, you've watched this far, you may as well subscribe. And you can follow us on Twitter and check us out on Facebook. You go to easternshorebroadcasting.com and there are links to all that stuff there. And we try to keep folks up to date. I know when we had a different show day, was that just last week that we had a different show day? I think so. We posted it on all the social media, but there were a couple of folks that apparently don't subscribe to us on social media. You got to fix that, Tommy. Anyway, it's been great. And look forward to seeing you on next week, next Wednesday, 3 o'clock Eastern. Yeah, there's a time change coming at some point, but I think that's the week after that. So if you're in a place that has already had, either you've already gone out of summertime or daylight savings time, or you're about to go into it, try to key into the fact that we are 3 o'clock Eastern in the U.S. and and you can get a good translation on that time, but don't ask me to do it for you. Whew. Okay. Hey, have a great day. Good streaming. We'll see you next week. Hey, Anderson's here.